Random thoughts. In this video, I'm going to discuss something that somebody brought up in one of the comments under one of the videos that I've done, and it's about the presence of Somali people in Chad. Now, this is the first time I saw the comment. I was like, "There's no way." It's one of those things that people just say. But then I was digging a little bit around, and there's evidence actually that it's very true that yes, there are Somalis in Chad, and looks like it might not be a significant community. It's one of the minority groups in Chad, but they actually identify themselves as Somalis. And what won me is an event that happened in Nairobi in January 2025, where uh, there were delegates from people from the Karre clan, we can call sub clan of the Somali people. And the Karre sub clan is mostly found in Kenya, specifically Mandera County, and also Ethiopia and southern parts of Somalia. That's where they reside for the most part. But then turns out there is a sizable population of the same sub clan in Chad. Now, Chad, of course, is a country in the central part of Africa, east to the west of the Sudan, I think. Is it a neighbor of the Sudan? Chad map. Let's see if it's to the... Yeah, it borders the Sudan to the west. Now, you would expect that maybe such a population would be found in, say, Sudan or Southern Sudan or South Sudan, that is, or Central African Republic. But no, there are no actually Somali people in Sudan, at least not like, when I say there are no, I don't mean the migrants. Of course, there are people who've gone to Sudan to study, do business and things like that. They are just people who've moved in recently, and maybe they still have homes in Somalia or in Kenya or in Ethiopia. But I'm talking about people who their only home is Sudan. There are no Somalis in Sudan. Egypt, Libya, no, Niger, but interestingly, Chad. Now, when I was researching about this, I remember reading Richard Barton's book, First Steps in East Africa. This is a book that was published in 1850s, and he talks about caravans of Somali traders traveling all the way to the ocean to the west. And he specifically says they told him to the ocean to the west. And the only way you can interpret it is the Atlantic. This is the only way you could interpret. And I did a video about that actually. The only way you could interpret it, the way they describe it to Richard Barton, where they go all the way to the west to where there are ships of Europeans. The only way is, of course, the Atlantic. Is very hard to see any other explanation. They don't say to the north, so that you say is the Mediterranean. They specifically say to the west, so, and it's very far to the west. So turns out there are these, and it's as I've said, the Karre subclan that has this presence in Chad, and apparently they have a specific name. They are called the Tobo Gorane of Chad, and yeah, they are of course they live just like the other Somalis in East Africa. They keep animals, and they are pastoralist, nomadic pastoralist, and of course Chad, for the most part, the larger population of Chad generally is nomadics, Fulanis, Hausas. They live that lifestyle, so I think they fit in with the rest of the people in that part of Africa. But it's very interesting, and as I said, when I saw this comment initially, I thought there's no way it's just one of those that people make up or just say, or could be, because I've had people tell me, for example, there are Kalenjin tribes in Senegal. I think somebody mentioned that. I was trying to dig around. I could not see I could not, and I'm not saying it's not possible. It is possible, but I could not find evidence to prove that. But for this one, somebody pointed out. Then I see actually that there was an event that happened in January 2025, And this event was attended by very respectable, we could say, members of the Kenyan society, including the governor then of Mandera, or he was the former governor. I think he's called, used to be, he's now a senator. He's now a senator. He's a very senior politician, not only in Mandera but also in Kenya. He plays the national politics, and it is Ali Ibrahim Roba. Yeah, he's a very close associate of William Ruto, I think, since. Yeah, so he attended the event. He was present, and then there were delegates from Somalia. There were delegates, of course, from Kenya. The event was happening in Nairobi. There were delegates from Ethiopia, and then there were delegates from Chad, and there were several people. And of course, they dress like you would expect people from Chad to dress, the men, that headgear that comes from Central Africa, not Central Africa, but the Sahel, as they call it. Central North Africa, we could say. You get where Chad is found. So I found that to be very interesting, and they are very vocal, seems like, about their identity. And I read somewhere that actually the language they speak is not very far from Somali. Even though the Karre are also a very interesting group of people have come to find out the identity is sort of very, very, very interesting. But yeah, so I found these, and if you've not heard of them, you should go check it out. Look at that event. There was even a press conference, actually. I think it was after the event, detailing the agreements about building unity among the Karre people of Kenya, Somalia, Ethiopia, and Chad, and their diaspora. Yeah, so this is very, 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 very interesting, actually, very interesting. And yeah, this is very interesting. And that again shows you that Africans are very, we could say, like the identity of the African people is very complex. It's not as simplistic as it has been put, especially by recent history, where we just, and I was looking at this and I was thinking about the different videos I've done about the clans in Africa, because I did a video a while back, could be 2 years a while back, or 2 years ago, where I say that the identity of an African is in his tribe. But actually, somebody corrected me under the video, and I used to use the word tribe, but over time I've come to figure out it's not very. It's a demeaning word that was adopted by the European historians to just make Africans nations look like not anything really. But then I was thinking about, and I remembered correcting myself later on. Somebody corrected me actually, and then later on I was doing my research and I was like, actually the identity of an African is in his clan, not the tribe. And the clan is, and when you focus on the clan, very interesting things start to happen. And one of those is that then you come to realize that you'll have one clan that speaks different languages. You have a clan of the Karre that speaks Somali, and the Karre who speak different languages, other languages, which is very interesting. And it's the same thing you'll find clans among the Luo that are also found among the Kisi. The Luo clans speak, of course, Luo language, and the Kisi clans, the same clan, they speak Kisi language. And you find some clans in Kisi that are found in among the Kipsigis, and those in the Kipsigis, of course, speaks Kipsigis language. They don't have any other language. Those that are found among the Kisi speak the Kisi language. But these are the same people, the same clan. They will also tell you that, oh, they are our people in Kisi if they are Kalenjin, and they will tell you, the Kisi will tell you they are our people among the Kipsigis. That's how complex it is, and the clan is where the things happen. And once you start focusing on the clan, then this thing of classification of Africans that the Europeans did starts to fall apart, because you start realizing, okay, if there are these clans, this clan that is here, he speaks a different language, and this one here speaks a different language. But these people tell you that we are the same people, even though those people speak a different language and we speak a different language. What does that say about this classification of people? Then things start to fall apart. Yeah, I did a live stream and somebody brought up the issue of Bantu, Kushite, Nilotes, and he was so angry, I could tell, because he could, the way he was commenting. And I understand, is because we've been made through maybe 20, 30 years to believe that story. And we've never realized that actually we are talking about the classification of languages. We are not talking about the genetics of the people. Anyways, so yeah, so you should go look how this about the Somalis in Chad, even though now becomes very complex. Are we talking about the Somalis or are we talking specifically of the Karre people? And if you are talking about the Karre people, does that translate to Somali or what is that? Of course, uh, just looking at it, of course, Karre are Somali for the most part, but there is a detail there that is very, 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 very interesting. Those are my random thoughts.